Okay, welcome back to GA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I'm joined here by former Antrim and current Ballycastle hurler Neal McAuley to preview this weekend's Joe McDonagh Cup final between Kerry and Antrim. I suppose, first of all, Neal, what's the excitement been like in the county ahead of this? Obviously, a special day for Antrim in many ways, playing on the same day as All-Ireland final, and I suppose playing in a big final in Croke Park as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Aaron, for having me along. The momentum is definitely here at the minute. Antrim are having a great season. It's difficult times for everybody, but Antrim have really put the shoulder to the wheel, and they've got a great bit of momentum at the minute. Even last week, our Camogues were in the intermediate final last week against Down, and although they were beaten, it's another team, a county team within Antrim getting to a final. And this week, the momentum definitely is building. We can't wait to see Antrim in Croke Park on All-Ireland final Sunday. It'll be great now for the people of Antrim to give them a real boost and give hurling within the county a real lift.
And I suppose, what have you made of the Antrim team so far in 2020? Because obviously last year, like, they were close enough to the Joe McDonagh Cup final, and I suppose the year before as well. A few near misses there, but I suppose this year they seem to have kicked on a bit this year. So, like, what have you made of them so far in 2020?
There's been a fresh kind of group of players have come in there. They've kind of got rid of a lot of the old guys, and they've just that pair of players have moved on, and you've got a fresh bunch of players there, and there's a great drive within them and a great strive to get to the next level. And I suppose Antrim have been in around Joe McDonagh level this last couple of years, and the ambition is to get back to Liam McCarthy and get back to the top table. And there seems to be a real drive within that group of players to improve. They're all at the right age level. Their profile is all in around the mid-20s, so they're hitting it at the right time. And the setup they have in behind them, with Darren Gleeson at the helm, they all seem to be happy. The players seem to be happy in what they're doing, and the results have spoke for themselves. And it's like anything, if you gain momentum, you're in a good way.
And I suppose just looking through some of the scores that Antrim have ran up in the Joe McDonagh Cup so far. So they scored 230 against Meath, 425 against Westmeath, 516 against Carlow, and 318 against Kerry. Have you been surprised, like, how well the forwards have played, considering obviously I'd say for most people maybe outside of Antrim they'd look at Neil McManus as probably the top forward or the top player in that team. So I've been surprised how well they've played, considering he's been injured for the majority of the Joe McDonagh Cup campaign.
That's been one of the best things about it. In the last few years, the last maybe 10 years, Antrim have always relied on Neil McManus to get the scores for them up front. And at the minute, there's maybe 10 forwards who are vying for 6 positions, and they're all top quality. And it's something that we haven't had in Antrim a long time, is quality forwards. But it hasn't surprised me at all. The likes of Kieran Clark, Conor McCann, Dan McCluskey, James McNaughton, these guys are all flying machines, and they can get goals and they get at teams. And just the thing that Antrim have this year over other years is the strength and depth. The bench is just, it's a struggle now to get onto 26, where in previous years you would have been trying to go onto the 15. Guys are just looking for a jersey in the 26 at the minute. The competition is just so high. So the competition this year, the Joe McDonagh, they've played 4 games. I think they've scored maybe 11 or 12 goals. So the team's getting goals at the minute, which always helps and try to win games.
And I suppose, like, do you think that's the main difference then from this Antrim team compared to previous years then, that, they've far more options in attack, and I suppose the younger guys coming through as well are just making a big difference to this team?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, we would always have had maybe 1 or 2 real key forwards, and whenever you played the bigger teams, they would have been marked out of the game, and you would have been struggling to get scores elsewhere. A lot of our scores generally against the bigger teams would have came from frees. We would have been scoring maybe 210, 212, something like that in the game. Now we're racking up. I mean, you've seen last week, 230. We're scoring 5 goals against Carlow. We're getting over the 20-point barrier every game, and I think that's going to be important on Sunday. Croke Park on a big pitch will definitely suit our forwards. You've seen, people would have thought the winter hurling would have slowed people down, but the pitches generally they're playing at the minute haven't had a lot of use, and they're all in good condition, and that's good for forward play and high scoring matches.
And And how much of a boost do you think it will be for Antrim to play in Croke Park? Because obviously, like I think I'd imagine it's a huge boost, not just for the hurlers, but for the Gaelic footballers, for everyone really, just to see Antrim playing in Croke Park in such a big occasion. So I suppose, how big of a boost do you think this will be for Antrim, I suppose, going forward?
Yeah, well, traditionally Antrim don't get to Croke Park that often, and as a player, you'll maybe get there 4 or 5 times in your career if you're lucky. Some people don't get there at all, so that would have been a big carrot for the players of Antrim, was they knew this was going to be played before the senior final and getting to Croke Park. I mean, that's probably been every player's goal that's played in the Joe McDonagh this year, whether you're from any of the 5 teams, was to get to Croke Park on the final day, because everybody wants to get there. If you're a kid from no age, you see Croke Park on the TV. You see all the big games there. You want to be the player playing there, and it's going to be massive for Antrim fans, because the game, although we can't get to the game, we can't go and support the team in person. We can tune in. It's going to be shown live on RTE2, which is a massive bit of coverage for the players in the competition, and the players deserve that, because they put in as much work as the rest of the teams at the top level, and they deserve the coverage that they're going to get on Sunday. It's going to be great for the fans and the youth to see their heroes, because a lot of the children up around here and the hurling strongholds would look very much up to the players that are on the Antrim team, and it's going to be great for them to see them on the biggest stage in Croke Park, and that'll be something that they'll try and aspire to when they're older as well.
Hmm. And I suppose just looking at this, the Kerry team then, and looking at some of their results kind of coming into this, like obviously they lost to yourselves, but they did get wins over Mead and Westmeath, and obviously that 2-point win over Carlow, just towards the end of the campaign there. So I suppose, like, what have you made of that Kerry side? And I suppose in many ways they've kind of exceeded expectation, because I don't think anyone really would have considered them to be in the final alongside Antrim. So what have you made of Kerry yourself?
The Joe McDonagh is just a brilliant competition. You've got 5 teams there that are just in the sweet spot. They're a wee bit below the top tier, but they're well above the Christy Ring level. And you've got 5 teams there: Westmeath, Kerry, Carlow, Antrim, and Meath, that are just, on any given day, any could beat the other. And Kerry have definitely, they seem to have they've got their act together this year, big time. Their manager, was it Finn O'Connor, has them going really well. Brennan Cummins in the background, so they've got a good team. They've had players there this last 3 or 4 years that have kind of matured and have come on real well. And the likes of, they've got some real top class forwards, the likes of Shane Conway, Shane Nolan, and even at the back, likes of Brian Murphy. So they have a good solid team. And I mean, they had to go down to, Carlow had to go to them, and they had to beat Carlow at home to get into the final. So that was just, that match was, everything was on the line, and they showed a good bit of grit there and character to get over the line. And Carlow, I would have said at the start of the competition, between the 3 of them, Carlow, Antrim, well, between the 4, Carlow, Antrim, Westmeath, and Kerry, you could have put anything over the 4 teams. So Kerry have shown a lot of grit to get to the final, and they'll want revenge on Antrim, because I think the last 3 matches now Antrim have beat them well. So Kerry will be coming equipped and well motivated on Sunday to beat Antrim.
Mm. And I suppose, like, what players do you think in this Kerry side do you think will cause the most problems to this Antrim team?
Well, the likes of Shane Conway, he's going to be the one that the Antrim are going to be looking to kind of put the shackles on it and tie him up. In Corrigan Park in the last Joe McDonagh match, Stephen really marked him well, but he's just one of them players that he's always going to get a few points on you. If you can keep him to a few points from play, keep him away from the goal. It's like every team has a couple of players you try and mind, but it's on the day. It's just on the day, things will go for you, things will go against you. It's going to be difficult to keep the likes of him down. He's always going to score a few points, but limit him to as little as possible, and try and get as much protection in around that full back line as we can to keep the damage down.
Yeah. And I suppose obviously as well, like Antrim and Kerry, like they've played each other a good few times already this year as well, like in the Joe McDonagh Cup and then in the league as well. So, like, what weaknesses do you reckon that Antrim could maybe exploit in this Kerry side? Like, obviously they'll be confident enough coming into this, I'd imagine, anyway.
Yeah, Antrim will be confident, but there's confidence and then there's arrogance. So the worst thing Antrim can do here is take Kerry, just not taking it as serious as they should do. Although it's a final, they'll be taking it very serious. Although Antrim have won the last 3 games, them games are gone now. That's in the past. This is a final. This match is on its own merits. And I mean, where I seen the league game or the Joe McDonagh game in Corrigan Park, Antrim had a lot of success whenever they ran up the Kerry defence. They had men on the shoulder runners, and even at the half backs coming up, breaking the lines, getting through midfield, helping the attack. That's where Antrim can maybe have some success again, especially in Croke Park on a big pitch. If we can use our athleticism and ball carrying abilities, especially through the middle third of the field, we can set up a lot of potentially goal scoring chances for our forwards.
And I suppose, like, obviously, like, if you were to win, let's say, and you'd be up in the Leinster Championship, like, obviously with Casement Park, like, if that kind of does get off the ground, you know, as according to plan, like, do you think then, you know, there could be the potential for Antrim really to start building more and more year on year? Because, like, even looking at that Leinster Championship, like, I wouldn't say you're that far away from Dublin, and you know, you could argue between yourselves and Laois, so that there's probably a real chance for Antrim to probably sustain themselves in the Leinster Championship moving forward, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I mean, where we want to get to at the minute is we want to get to the next step, which is where Laois, Dublin, maybe potentially Clare, Wexford, maybe a step on. That's where we want to get to. And there's no doubt this group of players can definitely do that, because they have another window of maybe 5 or 6 years now where they'll be competing. That they're going to have their 5 or 6 years time as an inter-county player, and the group's going to stay together because they're all within that age bracket and that profile. So the opportunity is there for them now to go ahead and take the next 4 or 5 years and grab that and really make a go of it and get Antrim back on the map as such, and keep us in Liam McCarthy for the foreseeable future. Because I suppose that's like any county, that's where we want to be, and we want to kind of grow towards that. And I mean, we've shown this year that we've made great progress, and that's nothing to do with Casement Park. Yeah, that's all in the background. But if we had Casement Park as well, that'll bring on the next generation, and I suppose it'll give us a home as well. It would be great to see Leinster Championship matches and Liam McCarthy matches posted in Casement Park now.
And I suppose then, if you were to give a prediction for this game, how do you see it going?
It's going to be tight. Like, Kerry are coming with a revenge mission here. I mean, they've lost the last 3. It's a final. Form does go out the window to a degree. I mean, Kerry have a dangerous forward unit there if we let them play. I still think that Antrim, with the likes of James McNaughton, Kieran Clark, Conor McCann, maybe have a bit much up front. We maybe have a bit much firepower up front, and we have strength and depth there on our bench. The likes of Neil McManus, we can call Neil McManus if his injury's healed up. The likes of Conor Johnson, Donal Nugent, these are players that usually would get on the Antrim team. So we have good strength and depth. So, like, it's obviously we'd love to see an Antrim victory. I don't think there'll be any more than a couple of points in it here or there. I just hope we can maybe get a few goals and get over the line with 3 or 4 points, and we'd all be very happy.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a close game, all right. But I suppose Antrim will be coming in with the momentum anyway after the recent couple of results. Well, I suppose anyway, cheers for coming on, Neil. I appreciate your time.
Definitely. Cheers, Aaron. 100%. That's great. All the best.